Hello and welcome to Foreign and Domestic Unfiltered Podcast. I'm your host, Ramon Mile, and woo, what's going on, everybody? Your boy is back. I got Grayson over here, sitting here watching Men in Black 2. He's chilling on the couch. He's got his headphones on. I'm recording. Folks, I had to fire up the pod real quick. I've been sitting on some content for quite some time, but Trump's absolutely insane media blitz since he dropped those bombs on Iran made it really difficult to find a good place to jump like into the double Dutch game. But when I heard this Tucker Carlson clip today, I absolutely had to plug in the mic and get some thoughts off. To set the stage, this is Tucker at a Charlie Kirk Turning Point USA event, it's the premier young Republican political action group in the country, right? So the crowd in the room, and for sure the great majority of the people who this kind of rhetoric is impacting that Tucker's about to spit, it's like those in the 16 to 35-year-old age cohort, right? Don't get it twisted. Like this right here, anybody who's known and seen my Tucker coverage in the past, like there's a meaning, there's a purpose behind it, right? This right here should serve as an absolute cattle prod in the ass to any and every centrist Democrat out there, whether it's a voter, a politician, a local politician, state, national, whatever, any of them that are waffling on their personal feelings about Zoran Mamdani, their slow creeping, maybe almost their support for the Bernie/AOC wing of the party. Because Tucker's absolutely spitting here, right? So anyone who's familiar with my show that knows my takes on him, right? But I'll repeat it here for those who aren't, for the uninitiated. So in my opinion, Tucker is an extremely cunning, savvy political operator who's an unsurpassed propagandist. And when I say this, I don't necessarily mean it in a negative way, right? Like I consider myself a propagandist to a degree, with my main goal being to influence my peers, whatever audience I may have, and basically anyone who's willing to engage in conversation into seeing the utilitarian logic behind a democratic socialist agenda and how exactly that is the antidote to many of the ills our country feels today. But with Tucker, it's a bit more complex, right? Like to place him on the political spectrum, for the most part, he's a right-wing identitarian populist, which in today's political terms pretty much means he's a white nationalist isolationist, right? Who occasionally dabbles in misogyny and bigotry with strong anti-war and seemingly pro-worker economic policies, seemingly, right? And I'll add another disclaimer on, right? Like here, which most of my longtime listeners already know. I'm a firm believer that conducting media analysis of right-wingers and observing the persuasiveness of their arguments it's super important. It's a huge part of what I do on this show. I'm of the strong opinion that first you should know yourself, but in politics, you absolutely must know your enemy. If you don't, you'll never win the messaging war. You'll continually lose in the marketplace of ideas, and you'll never have any inertia. You'll never have momentum. You'll have no juice, no sauce, right? And don't get it twisted. Even though Tucker's making a great populist economic argument here, his road to achieving those ideals would for sure be paved with like a healthy dose of xenophobic, neo-Nazi-esque policies that would have a disastrous effect on our country, right? With, of course, like anyone who actually knows this guy, the people who would experience the most pain if his political prescription came to life, it'd be people of color and women, right? So let's play the clip.
The basic economics really matter, and they matter because not that it's bad that rich people are getting richer, it's bad that everyone else is getting poorer. And it's especially bad the young people can't afford homes. Let me just put a very precise point on this. If you want a measure of how your economy is doing, I personally favor eliminating GDP as a measure. I don't even know what that is. It's clearly not relevant. The total economic activity. Oh, no. My measure is really simple. I got a bunch of kids. Can they afford houses with full-time jobs at like 27, 28? And the answer is no way. And the answer is that 35-year-olds with really good jobs can't afford a house unless they stretch and go deep into debt. And I just think that's a total disaster. That's a complete disaster. Why? Two reasons. One, if people don't own things, they don't feel ownership of the country they're in. And the country gets super volatile. because people feel like they've got nothing to lose. It's really hard to have a family without a house. It is. It's like super fun to live in an apartment if, there's like a bar downstairs, you're in a cool neighborhood. I'm in East Village. It's so cool. Try to have 3 kids. You're not going to have 3 kids there. You can't. Nobody wants to raise their kids in that neighborhood. Nobody wants to raise their kids in an apartment. People do it because they have to. Nobody wants to. People want a little house, not some McMansion, just a little normal house. That is the actual American dream. And that is what is totally unattainable for young people. And so the only young people in general that you will ever meet who have houses are young people whose parents help them. And God bless their parents. That's a perfectly great thing to do for your kids. But most people's parents can't afford to do that because they're already in debt from their pointless college degree. So that is a national emergency. Normal people with normal jobs no longer believe they can win in this system and that all the money is going to the worst people. And no one even stops to ask, what the hell is going on? How did Bill Ackman get so rich? And I'm not saying even that it should be illegal. What I'm saying is that our leadership class should say something about it and should assign a moral value to it. And if you're getting rich by loaning money to people at incredibly high interest rates, that's something you're going to have to talk to God about. That is not good. That is not virtuous. That's disgusting. And the fact that nobody feels free to say that, nobody feels like you can just say like 30% on a credit card? Why is anybody paying a credit card bill?
All right. Wow. So, look, that was like less than 3 minutes, but seriously, he hit on, speak to anyone, I'm about to turn 35 this year. Speak to anyone in my age cohort, like 40 and under, right? 18 to 40, right? Voting age, quote unquote youth vote. I think it cuts off at like 35 normally, the way the pundits consider it. But talk to any person of that age and then consider what you see, right? Like if you're politically literate and, you read polling, you see the age breakdowns of like by the issues, like what people consider the most important things. Look at the last election. Look at why Trump won overwhelmingly, like the Latino vote, and did really well with the youth vote. People are concerned about the economic future that they can feel, right? Not what they're told on the masthead of the New York Times, not what the Wall Street Journal is giving them little tips like, oh, just don't buy this stuff and scrape and, just be more conservative, right? That's no longer an answer, right? No one's buying that bullshit anymore. And here comes Tucker. And this is important too. Like if you've never really heard him before, he's laying it on so thick here. This was 3 minutes of absolute heat that you will never hear anyone on the left be able to speak to these issues and sort of reflect the pure rage people in this age cohort feel about these topics, right? Because of course, like, you got like your Nina Turners, obviously Bernie spitting, you get AOC hits the stump. They hit the high notes. Don't get me wrong. But the words that Tucker's using there, it's meaningful, it's powerful, it's impactful. And he hits the nail right on the head too, from a nation state perspective, right? Which is why I think he's communicating this way. And what I mean by that, from a nation state perspective, he's highlighting like, he's basically saying like, people feel absolutely dejected about their prospects of ever even owning a home, right? Like it's not even a question. And then he goes straight to it. He's like, that's people. It becomes dangerous for a country to have this many young people living in that feeling every day, right? Look at what just happened. I spent a ton of time when the pod was last running often talking about the George Floyd protests and the Black Lives Matter, everything that came out of that. And if you remember, or for those who don't know, at the time, what my analysis was this was simmering economic rage that finally had a point of direction. Like there was a lodestone. There was a specific flashpoint political event that everyone could easily digest and understand, that even for the people who weren't necessarily disgusted and disturbed about the racist undertone, or not undertones, overtures of what happened in those political events during COVID. Even if that wasn't necessarily something that they're still championing now, deeply undergirding all of that negative energy. I don't even want to call it negative, just energy in general from the electorate, basically from the center and all the way to the left, was due to this economic distress that everyone's feeling, right? Inflation's only gotten worse. We've only, since that point, 2 new wars that we're economically supporting have cropped up and spawned. This whole age cohort of people that Tucker's, honing in on with such precision, they understand the relationship between foreign policy choices of America and their economic prospects. They understand that. So this is kind of like, hey, this is the fucking warning shot right here. Because like I said, I have never heard anyone on the left hit 3 minutes like this. Something so digestible, so clippable, so easy to understand, that hits on all of the anxieties playing among the young American electorate, and just hitting it so perfectly, man. And this shit is dangerous, right? All the people who, Trump's a fascist. Yes, I agree. He's all these things, but he's a fucking idiot. Okay? We're watching him bumble right now. He's 6 months out the gate. I mean, he's calling the Epstein files a hoax today. Yeah, today's July 16th. He went on TV and lambasted his supporters, or his former supporters, quote unquote, he called them, that were still talking about Jeffrey Epstein. He's in fucking free fall right now. Okay? The real thing that needs to be concerning for those on the left is people like Tucker, who are actually able to craft a coherent argument that has policy prescriptions that can make the wet dreams of your Stephen Millers, your Steve Bannons, your hardcore fucking white nationalists come to life. That's what we should be concerned about. But even more so, it really, this clip too, like I just wanted to play it to highlight it, because it's like, this is how you do it, folks. I mean, this is the formula. So I mean, wow. I mean, go back and play it again. Go back and play it again. And again, think about all the people that you've heard in your life in the last decade voice these exact concerns, and how easily he's able to just encapsulate it and just put it in that 3 minutes. This is like Obama level fucking high level communication, right? But yeah, man, I mean, I'm concerned. Like, the Democratic Party is in absolute shambles, mostly due to an unceremonious exit by Joe Biden, who never should have run again in the first place, but largely also due to the behind the scenes power struggle for the fight to capture the completely untamed rage and energy in the party. Mamdani and his electoral results were an explosive glance at the teeming rage simmering amongst the youth. Rage at the cost of living, the Gestapo tactics of the Trump administration, the absolute madness in the Middle East with Israel fucking 1v5ing everybody in the region that isn't a U.S. ally or vassal, murdering children like it's a fucking video game. And guess what? While all along the DNC, Chuck Schumer, Hakeem Jeffries are sitting around twiddling their thumbs, attacking everyone on the left in the party. Meanwhile, Tucker and other right-wing voices are busy dropping absolute bangers like this, propagandizing the shit out of everyone under the age of 40. Mostly because literally anyone with power in the Democratic Party is terrified to allow the transfer of power that is so obviously coming. That's the thing. It's an inevitability. Even with Cuomo's fucked up past, he was still the governor of one of the most powerful states in the country, a Democratic bastion, a stronghold, with money, AIPAC backing. Mamdani slapped the shit out of him and easily wiped the floor with him. This is much more impactful than the AOC win. This is a way larger canary in the coal mine. I think we're going to keep seeing more and more of this. Look at all the opinion polling. It's been consistent since Trump won. Public policy polling amongst Democrats, they want fighters. Your Jasmine Crockett's, your AOC's, your Bernie's, your Mamdani's, your Ro Khanna's, right? Fighters. Not just, oh, Elizabeth Warren, I got a plan. You know what I'm saying? No. People who are willing to make these kinds of an impassioned pleas to the public. The rending of garments, as they used to call it in Rome. You know what I mean? This is where our politics is at. Whoever can capture enough lightning in a bottle every 2 years, that is the pathway, at least electorally, to victory. But more importantly, it is the pathway to redefining a politics that is in complete freefall. The electorate knows what they want on a tangible level, right? People want to make more money. They want to feel like they have the ability to buy the food that they need, to have health care, a roof over their head, right? That's basic shit. Maslow's hierarchy of need, of course. But anything like beyond that is totally up for grabs, because at the end of the day, that's what the electorate is focused around. So whoever is able to actually meet those needs has a very strong chance of defining the rest of American policy at large, both domestic and foreign, for this next century to come while our hegemony comes to an end. And that's really important. It's what Britain had to do post-World War II when the mantle of the Western hegemon was passed to us, right? They negotiated their exit. They understood. They created alliances, trade, everything was reformatted. They had to come out of it the best they can. We need to go through that process. And whether that looks like, isolationism, which, hey, I'm of that opinion too. I really think we should turn inward. We should make things here, right? Trump was half right. Tucker's been saying this too for a long time. He's half right. The problem is that we disagree on the other half of how do we do it exactly, right? But at the end of the day, this is all stuff that needs to happen. There will be no progress, right? Our country is going to continue to be more volatile politically until someone is actually able to, because that's the thing, right? People think like, oh, well, Trump won again. Like he did that. No, he didn't. He won an electoral victory. But right now, look at Andrew Schultz. Look at, a lot of the comedians who, as far as like the right wing or, center right people go in this country, centrists, independents, whatever you want to call them, the people that they look to for, Tim Dillon, like comedic relief, but at the same time, like political valence and meaning in what's happening. Like Trump lost all those people already. They're gone. They're out of here. They didn't want another war. They didn't want every guy they've ever seen, at a Home Depot waiting for work or that worked at their hotel, their local hotel, or was in agribusiness getting fucking black bagged. That's not what the American people want. So that's your proof right there. Look at Trump's popularity. It's in shambles. So my whole point is there is a shaping of the American politic that is still, there's so much left on the table, right? And obviously I'm not talking Hakeem Jeffries or Chuck Schumer here with this podcast, but it's to help other people that may be listening to understand, like, that's what's at stake, right? It's not so much just, hey, in the news cycle and debating things with your friends and family, like this specific topic. Sure, of course, like do those things, have discourse, discuss. That's important. But what I'm saying is, there has to be a point, like an end goal. What is the actual values of the Democratic Party? Not just in the stupid canned speech bullshit way that, every single politician that's run for office, like mine for president on the Democratic ticket, whether in the primary and the general for like the last, fucking 2 decades has said, right? Other than maybe Bernie. But what is the real vision? What is this country going to be about? What do we want to wield our power and on behalf of. And I think that we're getting a pretty universal, like, I think it's like an 80-20 issue at this point. It's not Israel and what they're doing in Gaza and bombing Libya and Syria and Lebanon. That is not what the country wants to be about, right? I don't think it is. And then domestically, it is not watching, more than half of the people under the age of 40 literally being incapable of buying a home ever in their life. That is not what anyone dreamed of for this country, right? I don't think so. So, I mean, for as far as the party elites go, like, it's just them not passing the torch ready for those ready and willing to fight. Trump, these oligarchs, like they've set the conditions that Tucker opines about in this clip. They're going out just like Biden did, as old, wealthy, delusional fossils that would rather allow the country to rot from within rather than admit their political program of neoliberalism has been an abject failure. There is no other way to characterize this. But the thing is, at this point, it's all irrelevant. We can no longer realistically expect control to be given in the face of an obvious tide shift. It has to be taken. So, that's kind of like, that was my conclusion to all this. Like, this is me mentally locking into, all right, well, there's midterms coming up. You know what I mean? Going to be conducting a lot of analysis, basically pretty much near the end of the year, because that's when everything is going to start kicking off. We're going to see a lot of stuff shake out. We're going to see the true impact, which we're not even, they haven't even really started yet. The real impact of tariffs. Report just came out that inflation went up way beyond what was expected. We have a super weak dollar. The stock market's fucking so volatile. We're going to know a lot come, around October, November. But for now, we're going to continue to conduct this analysis. It's going to be really interesting. Obviously, like the Mamdani general, that's going to be huge. We have a lot of months to come on that. But yeah, welcome back, folks. Thanks for having me, and I appreciate everybody who's listening. I'm going to have, I'll have some more content coming out with somewhat more regularity. We're going to bring back video. Hopefully I'm going to be able to get some more guests on, blah, blah, blah. We'll see. But for now, I think I might stick with this format where, I'm just going to do some analysis along with you guys. And then obviously wherever this is, if it's YouTube, Facebook, or whatever, I'm here to engage. I'm willing to, debate, discuss, answer questions, anything like that. Drop a comment, hit me with a like, share it, all that good stuff. All right. Thanks again, folks. Appreciate you.